Sometimes I feel like a caged tigress. I'm busting at the seams in anticipation of that door opening. From behind those bars, I've been surveying the land beyond, calculating what I want to explore. The cage is lifted now, and I'm beginning to regain my confidence. Clearly, not in how to spell that word. I'm turning down the volume on the voice of fear so I can focus all my attention with clarity. How do I quiet or console my fears? By taking the time to sit down and define exactly what they are. This way, I can create contingencies for the biggest ones. To start with, I took some advice, which was to separate or compartmentalize Diet the artist as myself versus Diet the artist as my business. The success and failure as a business does not define the success or failure as an artist, and vice versa. With this in mind, it became easier to demystify and create contingency plans. So here I am. The cage has lifted. I'm free to roam. There is absolutely nothing holding me back other than the limitation of my own self-doubt or focus. In turning down the volume on self-doubt, it becomes clear that I need to seriously invest in my business. I've had this easel for years. It was fairly cheap, lightweight, and it doesn't take up a lot of space. The problem with my current easel is that I'm constantly knocking it over and I'm moving it while I'm painting. While editing my last video, I realized how much my easel actually moves around while I'm painting. Because art is now my primary focus as a business, I have to begin investing in that business. I prefer working at large scale, and I need to invest in a better quality easel. I did a little bit of research and was able to define exactly what I wanted when I'm looking for my next easel. So here's the criteria I'm looking for in my new easel. I want it to be an H frame. I want it to support large canvas. It has to be on casters, or at least can be modified to be put onto casters, and an angle that's adjustable as well. It turns out that this is a pretty tall order, and to find something like that totals around anywhere from $1,000 up to $4,500 brand new. Finding them used is still tough, so I wasn't able to find anything that was reasonably priced used. I found this one on Amazon by Meeden. It's approximately $200 brand new. I struggled just a little bit putting it together, aligning the holes so that the hardware would screw into place. I think because of the chronic pain, my pain receptors don't trigger when I'm actually giving myself a blister. I saw my finger get super red and begin to fill up, but I couldn't actually believe I had injured my middle finger without feeling it. It's healing now, but when that sucker popped, it stung. Anyhow, after that, I just took my sweet old time putting the rest together. So far, I'm happy with it. We'll see how it fares out and how it weathers from here on out. I'm currently in the process of building a proper art studio in my home so I can begin creating inventory. I have invested in silk screen printing to produce limited edition handcrafted prints of my work. It all starts with an image though, so let's get to it. This is where I'm at with my current painting. At the moment, this is just an underpainting. During the last episode, I reached a stage where I felt like I had completed the image and immediately regret set in. I should have properly prepped my canvas so that at any time I could stop when I felt that the painting was complete. Now I'm worried that I'm just going to overwork the image and lose a sense of that whimsy in the work. And also to layer it into a state that I'm not going to like nearly as much. But onward and upward, I've committed to doing this, so let's continue on. I kept running into this problem. Once I would get all of my equipment set up, I would lose the gusto to continue painting. So I had a couple of false starts, which I've learned is fairly common when you're filming. By the time you set up, you're just kind of burnt out, especially depending on how long it takes to get set up. Filming for an easel setup is quite different from an overhead flat table surface point of view. Also, trying to film in a way that conveys how I experience this process personally, it's really difficult to get that across to another viewer. I had to rearrange my setup a few times, and as a result, I began questioning myself, filling myself with self-doubt, and I began wondering if maybe I'm just procrastinating in starting this next layer. I committed to just working on the background first. I chose to mix a slightly lighter tone than the base layer. Again, I mixed latex wall paint with acrylic paint as I did before, only with the gesso. I used titanium white and Mars black. The container I used still had the remnants of the first layer. So the white gesso is terrible. It's old. It's very gloopy. And I'm going to try to mix this with an electric drill just to see if that helps, if it works, if it makes it any better. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to buy a new jar of gesso. These little chunks, they're getting kind of caught inside the brush. And you can see them streak as I'm painting strokes. And it's just, anyway. It's not what I want. It's not the desired effect, obviously. Also, the latex wall paint seems to maybe dry quicker than the acrylic paints, and I think that's also causing this flaking texture of the paint. So it's clear that I'm obviously going to need to create another layer. I want to pick up some cornstarch though, because that way I can get the right texture on this background layer. But for now, for what I'm doing, this will work. I want to make sure that my entire canvas is saturated with paint. I don't want to see any sunlight shining through the back of it. Also, I want to paint my strokes of the background to follow the energy or the aura of the image, just to give it a little bit more motion. So just to add a layer of texture within a flat color and to create a connection between the foreground and the background. That makes sense. Even though it's sort of a flat color. As I completed this step, it was clear that I was going to need another layer for the background. But before I do that, I'm also going to work on the cat in the foreground. I want to add in the highlights and the lighting right now just to make sure that I'm getting that right. So I am going to have to rework the image a bit for that, as well as do a little more reworking in the muzzle area of the face. I'm not 100% satisfied with the composition of that, so I'm gonna see what I can do. Right now I'm focusing purely on using only black and white to build up the image. I painted for about an hour and a half, maybe 2, including the camera setup. I'm happy with how this is progressing. Again, I keep looking at myself instead of the camera. Tomorrow, I will be working on the next layer, so please subscribe because I will be posting my progress on this all the way to the silkscreen printing. That's it for this video. See you next time. Thanks for watching.